Everybody. Welcome to the Meta Cafe. Grab your cup of coffee or your tea and sit back. Let's chat about the astrology for today. I'm actually not having a very good morning here this morning as things are happening totally out of my control. And I didn't even get a chance. Look, my page is blank. And you guys have seen this page before, and it's totally full with all kinds of stuff, as it should have been today, because I actually have to do several days worth of talking today. So I don't even know where the time went this morning. It was just gone. Too many other extraneous activities that I had to mess with this morning, and none of them worked out the way I thought they should work out, and that is frustrating, but whatever, right? Some days you just have to do what's up in your face. And so let's see if I can't wing this here somehow, because I have my handy dandy lists of transits and things like that. And I do know for certain that today the sun is in a trine to Jupiter, and a sun trine Jupiter makes for a great day. Yes, so far not so good, but it's not a bad day. It's just not going as planned. I think that has to do with my own personal chart where Mars is now conjunct my Jupiter, or excuse me, my Uranus. So surprises. And I've had those this morning, a couple of them, as a matter of fact, that took up my attention and didn't give me the opportunity to do what I needed to do. So, to get ready. So, let's just chat a little bit then about the Sun trine Jupiter. The Sun is in Leo, of course, and Jupiter in Sagittarius. So, they're fellow fire signs. Fire signs are creative and passionate about their creations, or passionate about life. They live life large and in charge. The Sun, especially in Leo, is about living from the space of the heart and living from a space of largeness. Whereas Jupiter in Sagittarius is also a planet right now that's in a sign of optimism and seeing the bigger picture. Now, when we take the trine between the two, we have a smooth flow of energy between two planets that have so much good energy for us. They're benefic planets. And what it does is it puts us in a position of being able to go with a very highly creative and maybe a very energetic flow. And when I say energetic, I'm meaning it's busy energy, it's big energy, it's good energy, it's creative energy. And anyway, just good stuff, right? So today should be a very good day. And that's followed by tomorrow's Venus trine the planet Jupiter. So we have Jupiter again involved in this mix. And that puts us in a position with Venus to keep our values, our relationships, our love interests, our finances smoothly flowing with the energy of Jupiter. I think about the only, negative or bad side, if you will, of tomorrow's Venus trine Jupiter is the possibility of overspending or doing more than what you can accomplish in a day. So we might have to just keep things in perspective a little bit. Not overdoing, keeping things proportional. That's the word that I like to think of with when we have many Jupiter types of things going on. And then, of course, all of this energy culminates on Sunday, the 11th, when Jupiter turns direct in the sign of Sagittarius and begins its forward motion to end its transit in Sagittarius, which won't happen until December 2nd, but it'll go over the territory it's been in and add new territory to the mix. So everything kind of turns more outward as of Sunday, and also changes the direction of the growth. So, where we were growing on the inside, maybe having to look at issues within us, Jupiter now on the outside, having us take a look at what's going on in our outer lives. And is our outer life a mirror, or is it in alignment with what things are happening on the inner planes with us? So, whatever inner dynamics have been changing for you over the last 4 months of Jupiter's visit backwards in Sagittarius will be then changing over to forward motion. And for a short time, you're going to be going back over the same growth issues or opportunities that you went over in the beginning. So It to me sounds like this is a really good couple of days, but I caution you with Jupiter because Jupiter's sort of sneaky a little bit. And it doesn't mean to be sneaky, but it does tend to sometimes at first highlight the problem area. So wherever Sagittarius is in your chart, you may have to confront the energy of where you've got beliefs that are stuck. You may be confronting where you're self-righteously holding on to something or beliefs that, that you're better than everyone else, or that whatever those beliefs are. Sometimes they're very religious beliefs, sometimes they're very spiritual beliefs, but if they are your sacred cows, then likely you're going to have some upset around that when you find out that there's something more, that there's something bigger, or that you've got to let go of something. So, first, you may have the letting go energy, and then you may have the growth energy. And some of you may not experience any of that, right? Some of you may have already kind of consciously done that when Jupiter was in retrograde. And so you won't be faced with that. You've done the work. But if you haven't done all of the work, then it will be exposed first, and what work that you need to continue doing, and then the next will come in. All right, so that's for today and tomorrow. Let's see who's out here this morning. Good morning, Lisa Kenny. Good morning, Debbie Hedden. Good to see you. And Mimi. Good morning, Linda Dennis. Good morning. I want everybody to say a happy birthday to Mimi this morning. Her birthday's tomorrow, but since I won't be on air tomorrow morning, I would like it if everybody would wish Mimi a very happy birthday for tomorrow. And Mimi, of course, I wish you a happy birthday as well. Good morning, Linda. Linda says, good morning. Sorry, your day is not good. It's not that it's not good. It's just annoying stuff. And I'm going to give you a great example of annoying. So we have a ferry system here that gets us from the mainland where I live. I actually live on an island, but I can drive off and on my island because they built a, whatever you call that, dike holding back the bay and anyway. But my son lives on an island where you have to take a ferry, and they release reservations at 7 a.m., 48 hours or 2 days before you want to take the ferry. So we are leaving on Friday morning. So this morning at 7 a.m., I log in to my reservations for the ferry service. And wouldn't you know it, all of the reservations are full. I'm like, how can that be when you've just released them? So it makes me go, oh yeah, so the system isn't working or something's wrong. The only ferry I can get is at 6:25 Friday morning. I guess I should be thankful that I can get any ferry out to go over and celebrate his birthday with him. But it's irritating to me because I was like logged in, ready to go, no ferries. It says full, standby only. How can that be? Because they save like 20% of the reservations for uh, 48 hours before. So minor irritation, but it just set my teeth on edge. Right? I want to rail against the state of Washington because they're so stupid that they don't have enough ferries for people to go back and forth, and that 2 days before a ferry sails, they are totally full with standby only. Now, standby only means that you have to get there probably 2 hours before the sailing and sit in line and hope that you get on. And if you don't, then hopefully you get on the next sailing. And if you don't, well, oh, so you see the point, a reservation is totally necessary. So that's just an irritation, just an irritation. So, and that's just one of like 3 or 4 this morning that were happening. So nothing bad, just a little irritating. So I'm hoping Jupiter and the sun kick in fast. Do I have a time? I don't. I don't even have a time where that happens today. But I have to remember too, the moon is in Scorpio. And so there may be hidden things going on here that I can't see that are actually acting on my behalf. And even though my ego self wants to be irritated and upset and mad, and I really literally want to have a 2-year-old tantrum in here about not getting my way and getting over there at the time I wanted to get there, there could be a very good reason that I just can't see. And that's due to the moon in Scorpio and, the astrological landscape being such that, it can be something totally unseen that I am not aware of at the moment. So I just have to go with the flow, but it still makes me mad because I'm still human too, Linda. There you go. So, good morning, Debbie Tibbetts Tumiel, and good morning, Laura. Good to see you. I've missed you too. I'm glad you're out there this morning. Asa, good morning. We've missed you as well the last couple of days. My bet is you've been hanging out with grandkids. And Ashley, good morning to you. And Lisa Kinney says, first day of school today in Monterey. Wow, that's early. It's only, what is today? August 7th? That's crazy. Do they do 3 months on, 3 months off, or 3 months on, 3 weeks off, or something like that? Crazy, crazy. Jennifer Peachy, good morning. Brenda Gagnon, good morning. Veva, nice to see you. Good morning. Debbie says, happy birthday to Mimi, both Debbies. And Mimi says, oh, thank you. I couldn't miss your birthday, but even though I'm not going to be on, so we had to do something different. Good morning, Allison. And good morning, Stephanie. Hey, Stephanie here. She says, I have no sound, but I think that's a phone setting. I'll catch the podcast later. Meanwhile, I'll lip read. Stephanie is joining us likely from Australia. So good for you, Stephanie. And that must mean it's really late there or really early in the, no, it can't be early in the morning. It's early in the morning here. So it must be really late at night. Laura says, happy birthday, Mimi. Lisa Kenny, congratulations. Another trip around the sun. Yay. Asa, happy solar return, goddess Mimi. Veva says, happy birthday to fellow Leo. I celebrate my 40th on Sunday. Well, happy birthday to you, Veva. And everybody wish Veva a happy birthday. And what a great day, because Sunday, Jupiter turns direct, Uranus turns retrograde, and Mercury ends up in Leo again. So that makes probably for, without looking at your personal chart, Veva, that makes for maybe some excitement in the coming year, especially when your birthday falls on a day where there's so much going on astrologically. And Lisa, extra weeks off fail for Thanksgiving and Christmas. Nice. Oh, year-round school. Okay, I gotcha. Because our schools here in Washington, I don't think they start until either the last week in August or maybe even after Labor Day, because I think Labor Day is early this year. But I can't even believe it's August, you guys. It's August, right? I mean, wow, blow my mind. And Mimi says, happy happy birthday to Veva. Nice. You guys are all so great and supportive. I love that. And at any rate, so, and even you, Mimi, have a great year on tap, because your year is falling with a Venus trine Jupiter. Remember, a trine, trine can be lazy, but a trine can also be a smooth flow of energy. Venus is the beautifying planet. She's the artistic planet. She's the creative genius sometimes that's, pushing things to be exploded outward. So your artistic or creative energy right there, and trine Jupiter, which is the planet that's optimistic and, wants to share with the world, is magnanimous and generous and all of that. So to me, you have a great solar return as well. So you ladies have earned it. And tomorrow, let's say, Mimi, I'm not sure what time your chart's set for, but it looks like the moon may be in, well, it could be in Scorpio or it could be in Sagittarius. It doesn't change to Sagittarius until 4:35 p.m. Does that mean, so the moon may be in void for you tomorrow? It is void from 7:58 my time, so 10:58 your time, until 1:35, 4:35 your time. So you may have a void of course moon for your birthday. And a void of course moon for your birthday would mean that there may be fits and starts, right? There may be things that start moving and then stop. So it's the best idea is to just stay with your heart and move forward, because those projects will work. But trying to start something odd or out of normal might blow up a little bit. So you want to watch that. But of course, I'm not looking at your personal chart, so I don't know. So anyway, there you have that. Okay, let's take a look at what else might be happening, because over the weekend I will also not be here. The moon will be fully in Sagittarius on Friday, and it will be conjunct Jupiter. So we have the sun trine Jupiter today, Venus trine Jupiter tomorrow, and the moon conjunct Jupiter on Friday. So there's a lot of Jupiterian energy in preparation for the retrograde ending on Sunday. So that makes for a lot of Jupiter stuff. So didn't I call this week Jupiter week? Because it seemed like I was already aware that there was going to be a lot of Jupiter stuff going on. And yes, I called the week of the 5th through the 11th Jupiter week because almost every day had some kind of Jupiter resonance with it. So this is a week for the growth aspect, for keeping things proportional in your life. Making sure you don't move too far in one direction or the other. That your swing is sort of trying to stay in somewhat of an arc that is achievable, an arc that is conservative in some way. What's the word that I used? Uh, it was calculated risks. There we go. That you're taking calculated risks. So I don't want you to close up shop and not be willing to do or change or explore or grow, but I want it to be calculated, right? That it's a calculation that you're almost making in terms of I'm going to step out here, but I'm also aware that this may not work and I'm okay with that, right? That it's not going to that if it's an expenditure of money, for example, that it's not going to be so much money that you're going to go broke, but it might be a hit, but I'm taking that calculated risk that this is going to pay off for me. So this is a week of that kind of looking within and seeing where you've taken risks and where they've worked, and maybe where you've taken risks that didn't work, or where you've held yourself back and you go into a Jupiter direct without having taken any risks. Hard to say. Or maybe what you've been doing is sitting with this energy inside of you, looking at what shifts you need inside in order to grow in the outer world. And after Sunday, of course, it will be time to show that out to the outer world. Let's see. Saturday, the moon is in Sagittarius until late in the evening, and actually very early Sunday morning for you all on the East Coast, where it will move into Capricorn. Interesting, right? Because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn and Jupiter is in Sagittarius. So the moon will be in Saturn's territory. Jupiter is in its own home ruled territory on Sunday. So we have maybe an opportunity to set up goals, to actually see the plan and then execute the plan, right? We can't do anything of real note without a plan. So maybe that's what this might be for you. If you don't have a plan for what you're doing, then it's time for the plan. So I'll let you guys in on a little secret. So yesterday, actually for about probably for the last month, I've been agonizing inwardly over changes that I want to make in my website. And all of this came about because I realized that my website wasn't getting as many hits, and I wondered why. And then I realized it had to do with search engine optimization, which is just a bunch of baloney, but has to be done. But I never have time to do that because I'm working with you guys or I'm doing coaching, etc. I want to do my work. So I ended up thinking, wow, I might just hire somebody to do the work on my website. So I called my web people, which are GoDaddy, and I started working with them to do it. And then my computer blew up, right? Remember that. So it stopped me dead on the whole website issue. But what it did that time, thank you, Mercury retrograde, gave me time to really think about what is it that I want my website to do. And then I realized things on my website weren't even, I hadn't changed some things. It was just really like crazy. So yesterday I'm sitting here thinking about this. And I'm thinking about this. And I had a conversation with a friend who lives just a few doors down from me about something completely unrelated. And I was helping her do something. And I looked at her website and I go, dang, Amy, your website is so awesome. I love it. And she goes, well, I can do that for you too. And I was like shocked, right? It just shocked me to my shoes. And so I started thinking about that, and now I'm in this process because I pulled the trigger on it. So I have a new website being built by Amy in the background, but it requires me to come up with the plan. So I've already been, penciling out this idea. What does it look like? How is it going to look? What's it going to do? What can you guys as participants in the website do when you get there? So it is a great time, I think, for planning and for organizing your thoughts around what can I do differently? Because obviously what I had been doing has stagnated in some very key ways, right? That I wasn't able to keep up with the times, if you will. And you know how fast the times roll. And any of you who have websites out there, you know that it is difficult because things are always moving, and it forces you to have to either learn it or you hire someone that knows what they're doing. And I hadn't done either. So now I've done that. So now I have this plan of action, and it felt really good. It feels good to have a plan, and it feels good to actually have made a decision. And this is one of those calculated risks, right? There was money that I had to output for this, and there's also the time output that this will take. But I've calculated the risk, the benefit, and I see that I can't lose in this, right? Even if it costs me more time, or even if there's more money involved, this is something that eventually lines me up for the future. That's how I want you all to think about this. What is it that you've been hesitating to do that you know you need to in order to be ready for your future, right? To be ready for what comes next and get ready to pull the trigger on that. All right. Hope that helps everybody. Sometimes it's easier if you have an example of what's going on in someone else's life to be able to bring that up for you. Um, let's see what else is going on. Everybody's still wishing people birthdays. I love it. 40th birthday for you, Veva. That's really a big one too, because that means you're at the doorstep of your midlife redirect. I call it redirect as opposed to crisis, but sometimes it's a crisis and sometimes it's just a redirect. And a redirect meaning this is a time when Uranus comes to its opposition point, somewhere between age 40 and 42. You will come to a point where your life revolutionizes in some way. In some respects, you rebel against the way things have been, or most often for women, it is a time where you go, maybe your kids are getting, if you have kids, your kids are getting older. They maybe don't have as many demands on your time, and you're looking forward to what comes next, right? Am I really doing what I wanted to do? Am I really with the people I wanted to be with? And so there's a lot of soul searching that goes on during this period of time for you. And I like to tell people ahead of time. So 40 is a great time for you to become aware of this, Veva, because then when something happens, you aren't blindsided. When I turned 40, I think I was 41, between 40 and 41 when my midlife redirect happened. And of course, I had just started really recognizing that I had a more spiritual destiny to undertake. And I didn't like the way my life was going. And I ran away from home. I packed up my stuff and I walked. I was going to walk the 29 miles to some park over here and just hang out under a tree. And fortunately, I came to my senses about 5 miles down the road and ended up my whole life changed. It did a turnaround. I went from working out in the real world and eventually started my own metaphysical business. And that happened over the course of those 2 years. So it can be profound change, but it can also be minor change. But what I am saying is knowing ahead of time would have saved me so much hassle, would have saved me so much angst if I had known what was happening to me at that point in time. So I'm telling you, at this point in your life, things are about to get interesting, right? So be open arms, open heart, and just see what direction does that take you in next. Allison, great question. Can you give your opinion on the 8-8 Lions Gate? It's a bunch of hooey. A bunch of bullshit people make up to have something to talk about in August. However, there is one thing that I find interesting about 8-8. So you notice I don't usually throw my towel in with these kinds of things, right? Because 8-8. So tomorrow's August 8th. If I look at 8-8, 2019, from a numerological standpoint, I would have to look at it as 8-8 2019, which is a 3, 8-8-3, 16, 17, 18, 19. It's a 19-1 day. Numerologically, not a big deal. The moon tomorrow, transitioning from Scorpio to Sagittarius, no big deal other than the Venus trined Jupiter. There's nothing that recurs on that day that makes it a portal, a gateway, of a lion's gate, nothing like that. Just nothing. But what is interesting, and I did this with my friend Londa the other day because she's doing this event on this 8-8 Lions Gateway, right? And what I looked at, okay, so I'm on my phone because I'm going to get my star map. Star map 3D. Oh, look at all those fingerprints on my phone. Can you guys see this? It is a map of the stars. And so what you're looking at right there, that must be, is that the moon or the sun? I can't see it because I'm pointing my phone at it. So anyway, the idea was we were looking for the star Sirius, 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 the dog star. And we were wondering, oh, there it is. So I can see it. It's right here. I can't show it to you because as soon as I turn my phone, it's going to change the stars. And so this is a time of year, the 8-8 gateway puts the Sirius, the star Sirius overhead at noon. And Sirius is a very revered fixed star. We don't talk about fixed stars very often because it's not the type of astrology I really learned first. But, in the ancient days, in the old days, in the days of the Egyptians, for example, they were great observers of these fixed stars because their night sky was so much darker. Our sky is so, I mean, even where I live, where I have a lot of opportunity to see the night sky when there aren't clouds, because of its darkness here. The cities don't have that opportunity. So we don't watch the stars in the sky like the ancients did, like our ancestors did. And what they would watch often were these fixed stars that seemed to have this path that was fixed, so they could predict, like on this day every year, the fixed star Sirius would rise. It would have its heliacal rise on a certain day, and then from that they knew that their flood period was starting. And so they use the stars as almost pointers to the big events that are going on. So to me, when I look at this Lion's Gateway, I think it's trumped up, if you will. Oh, I hate to use that word, but it's built up into something big for no real good reason. And I can't help but think that, except that if you're following the fixed stars today, Sirius will be overhead, and it kind of is then aligning with the noonday sun. So then you have the sun, which is ruled by Leo, or which rules Leo, right? Leo and the sun together, and Sirius, which was a very important star to our ancestors because it often conferred some really positive benefits. Usually it pointed to something big that was happening in the society, maybe societal changes. Certainly for the Egyptians, it was the beginning of their flooding season, which of course is what they needed in order to grow crops in that desert land. So the Nile was predictable in that it would flood at that time as the dog star Sirius would begin to rise. So it's kind of a mismatch of stuff, Allison. It doesn't have any real punch that I see. And that's my opinion. If you read a bunch of stuff about it, there's a lot of made up stuff. So if you believe that and it makes sense to you or you resonate with it, yay. If you don't resonate with it, like I don't resonate with it at all, then you just let that go, because astrologically, I'm looking at what are these planets doing, and the planets aren't doing anything that would lead me to say this is a great portal. Hope that makes sense, right? If it was on a new moon or a full moon, then maybe a big portal was opening, right? That then I would believe that, or that this was some kind of lion's gate. But it is a day. Maybe it's a cause for celebration, right? It's a holiday, maybe a celebrating of the renewal of the sun and the planet Sirius, or the star Sirius, and its relationship. We can see. I hope that helps. Did I piss anybody off by saying that? Because sometimes I just see this stuff that's written out there. Like yesterday, from, I think it was Astro. No, it wasn't Astro. It's some other mailing list. I get this, today's your lucky day. Everything's going great for you today. And then I open it up, and all it's saying is, get your card reading today. I think it's tarot.com maybe that was doing that. Get your card reading today and see where your luck is. And I'm like, oh my God, it's because of the sun and Jupiter, which is a big deal. Don't get me wrong. It's a big deal. It happens once a year though. So they make it sound like, that this is a once in a lifetime deal. And then you fall for it because you don't know any better. And then you buy their products. So I can't do that. I can't make things up just to get you to buy a reading or do things like that. So it just goes against me. And Allison's just curious. Exactly. Curiosity is good. Anyway, somebody else had a question. Easy day tomorrow. Lunch cards. LOL. VOC moon makes me want to nap. Or, Mimi, it's also a possibility for you then to um, be more spiritually engaged. Not that I'm saying you're not, but a void of course moon is really good for studying spirituality, meditating, yoga, reading more spiritual things, right? Engaging in maybe more spiritual workshops or what have you during the year. You may become more interested in the inner planes this coming year with the moon void of course on your birthday. And anyway, but we didn't do the chart, so seriously Syrian here. Love my star peeps. You are seriously a Syrian because for you, then your birthday's falling on a day where the sun is coming into alignment with Sirius. Now, I don't know that that happens anywhere but here in the US, by the way. I know when I used my star map, I could see right now. I can see Sirius is coming up. It's 8:30 in the morning here, so within 3.5 hours, the sun should be overhead, and Sirius should be pretty much lined with the sun. If I have time, I won't have time today, but if anybody has a Star Map 3D Plus app, check it out at noon and see where it is. Your time, noon your time. Okay, let's see what else is happening tomorrow. Not tomorrow, but on. Is it today? No, no, nope, nope. Yes, it is today. Today is our crisis of action. The moon comes to the first square with the sun after its new phase last week. So we're 1 week into the new moon. And the first inkling of anything that's limiting you, blocking you, or standing in your way of achieving your manifestations or your intentions shows up today, and or possibly shows up today. And it may be something that somebody says, it could be a problem that shows up, it could be something that you find out you've got to redo, it could be any number of things. But allowing yourself to get stopped by whatever shows up in your outer world today is not what's called for. Instead, it is opening up to, okay, what is possible? What direction can I go? Because often this is a point in time in the cycle where the universe is pointing you in a different direction or showing you the path around the roadblock. But we often get to the roadblock and we're like, oh, what's up? Right? We don't want to be stopped in our forward momentum. Kind of like me this morning with the whole ferry thing. I had it in my mind. I wanted the 9:05 ferry, and that one was full to capacity, presumably. And I couldn't take that one. So instead, I could have just been really irritated. I am still irritated, but I chose to go around the block and take the 6:25 a.m. ferry, which, God help me, means I'm up and at 'em at 4 o'clock so I can get there in time. Anyway, that's just me being me. So don't forget about that. That's happening today. You may find blocks in your path to moving forward. And if that's the case, hold your space for a moment and just see what else is possible, right? What else is possible? What else is showing up? What is the possible route around the block? And later, of course, in the month, we find out that the blocks might be internal, right? We have to change our consciousness in some way. That's what the next crisis point will be after the full moon. So we have the crisis of action that first stops us. And then later, we have the crisis of consciousness, which means we've got to look inward and discover where it is we might be holding ourselves back or in some way creating an issue in our consciousness where we can't continue, or where we think or believe we can't continue. Okay, let's see. Anything else? Saturday's a relatively nice day. Saturday, go out and explore the world on Saturday. Have fun out in the parks or hiking or going on an adventure, and whatever that might mean for you, right? Maybe it's an adventure going to a museum or going to a public library and just immersing yourself in books. Maybe it's going to a trail that you've always wanted to experience and you've not done it before. Saturday's the day for that. Spend the day exploring and or moving yourself outward into the world in some way. Maybe there's a party or a class or something that you would normally not want to engage in. Maybe you've had some interest in it, but maybe you just hold yourself back. Don't do that on Saturday. Get out, explore, and do, and be the adventurer, right? Sunday with Uranus changing direction. He will be in retrograde from Sunday, August 11th until January 7th, I believe it is. So he spends a good chunk of time there. And that may trigger the inner rebel for all of you. So when he's direct, we see out in the world, these things that are going on that are revolutionary or create rebellion in some way. With him changing direction, then that moves inward for each one of us, and we have to find our personal genius in all of this. Remember, you have genes in your chromosomes, in your DNA. Genes. Genius is you living the truth of your genetic heritage, right? Your genes, your genius, right? So everybody has genius because everybody has genes, and your genes and your genius are separate from mine, but we all have it. So be brilliant, look for your brilliance, do the inner dive and find your inner brilliance to bring it out, to express it. And the moon that day will also be trine Uranus, which means there's a nice flow going on between the energy of Capricorn, which seeks sustainability, which seeks expression through deliberate action, and then also the moon trining Uranus that does things in surprising new ways, revolutionary ways. So we have a nice balance that day of the energy of having the plan and doing things step by step, but also of living out your genius, your bright side. So it could be a really interesting weekend. And Asa says her grandson's first birthday is tomorrow too. Well, happy birthday to your grandsons or your grandson. And Elisa, good morning to you. Great to see you out there. Kathy Miller, good morning to you as well. So great to see all of you out here this morning. There must be something you were all feeling and being called to come out here this morning. So I think that is it just about for, let me do the Pleiadian energy. I didn't even look at that yet. I know it's a 6 day, and 6 yesterday was catalyzing energy. Today is the energy of enlightening, and flow is what 6 is. So today is a great day for travel, lots of movement on all levels, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. And then the enlightening energy is in Mayan calendar. It was Ahau, which is really a sign of royalty. The kings, or the royal kings, I guess they would call them kings, the rulers in the Mayan, were all for Ahau. Four being a sort of royal number, a number of stability, and Ahau being a sign that you were meant for something more, something big. In in today's energy, enlightening is about committing to ideals and seeing opportunities for social progress. So change on the it's very Jupiterian, right? When we think about social progress, the first planet I think of is Jupiter. So social progress and committing to ideals, but we got to watch out for polarized judgments, right? So seeing one group of people and judging them to be a certain way versus the way that another group of people that you might be a part of is, or just any kind of polarized judgment that we have. And then then we move from 6, the energy of flow, to tomorrow's merging, which is a day of opportunity for taking and merging consciousness, merging connections, bringing things together, merging energy. And then connecting and harmonizing over the weekend. So those are abundance generating sort of things. So the universal energies for the next few days are in the sphere of creating a space for growth, right? Making things bigger. And we move through to Amish. Amish is being, it's the beginning of their 20 days of earth energies. Amish energy is nurturing, creative, and it's a great time to start new things. That'll be tomorrow. And Eek, which is the wind, change. And then listening, right? That matches our earth this week in human design, listening deeper. Oh, that was what I was going to do this morning. And then we move also to planting, putting those seeds in the ground, making those plans on Sunday. So I think all of that matches up with what we were talking about with the planets. What I wanted to do this morning, yesterday we read In Rosie Aronson's book, The Wisdom Keeper's Inner Guidebook, we read about the energy of gate 7. Leadership or guidance is the gift in that one, and division was the shadow, and the siddhi was oh goodness, what was the siddhi? Oh, virtue, right? Oh, I was going to look up that word and I did not yet. I did look the word up, but I was going to read it in the gene keys. I may yet do that today and maybe put a message out there. But now I want to look at the gate or gene key 13, because that's where the earth is sitting. And the earth is where we are planted, right? That's our feet on the ground here on this planet. And it can often, the energy of the sun and the earth in human design can first create a challenge for us. And in your gene keys hologenetic profile, the sun and the earth, by on the conscious level, so your soul purpose or the black column of numbers, can really represent a challenge. There's an evolution that has to happen, a breakthrough that's waiting to happen for you between the sun and the earth. So the breakthrough between guidance and the gift of discernment in the so the earth is sitting in the gift of discernment, while the sun is sitting in the gift of guidance and discernment. The siddhi for the gate 13, where the earth is empathy, while the shadow is discord. So the lower frequency energies for the sun and the earth have been division and discord, and the gifts are the energy of guidance and discernment. So let's read the wisdom story for 13. And it begins with: discernment begins at an individual level as you come to see how deeply your view of others is connected to your feelings. Over time, you reclaim the ability to listen to others and the world from a broader perspective. And the story begins: I grew up in a fundamentalist household to parents who were narrow minded, opinionated, and reactive. If I expressed something that didn't fit with their beliefs or was too optimistic, they beat me down with words or a belt. They were always in the right and I always in the wrong. To survive their anger, bitterness, and pessimism, I turned into water. I became soft, compliant, and forever yielding. I sacrificed my backbone in order to stay safe and got so good at pretending to be sweet and kind that I forgot I was pretending. As I entered womanhood, I became a permissive carpet, allowing others to walk all over me. And even though I had strong beliefs inside, I never stood up for what I believed in. I repeated this pattern, falling into one abusive relationship after another. All of my decisions were fueled by a desire for safety, even though I was rarely safe, and I was often surrounded by discord. I refused to do what I knew that had to be done. I refused to do what I knew had to be done. Until the day I saw my husband touching my daughter inappropriately. That was it. I could no longer deny my feelings or refuse to act. The moment I was forced to listen to the rage, pain, and utter hopelessness that had been living inside of me was the moment my true heroic life began. Now I watch the human drama playing out all around me with empathy, compassion, and optimism. I write myths and children's books that acknowledge the mythical journey that is the human life. All true heroes and heroines go through dark nights of the soul. Transformation and redemption are inevitable when we are willing to wake up, discern, and truly listen. My gift to you is: I am here to wake you up. Where are you repeating the same mistakes? Where are you refusing to listen and accept the consequences of your heart's truth? You will be surprised at how courageous you are once you begin to be honest with yourself. It is time to start listening to yourself and to others. Learn the art of discernment. Listen beneath the words. Listen for the deeper desires, the emotional agenda, and the underlying tone. Listen beyond your own individual story. There is a grand mythic human drama playing out in your life and all around you. We are all a part of it. We all have our version of the underworld. We all carry the wand of a wizard, the sword of a warrior, and the potential for a happy ending. As you begin to see the mythic quality of your own rich human life, your optimism will grow right along with your empathy, compassion, and heroic potential. You are not alone. I am here. And the questions for contemplation, which I'm not sure if you guys like to do that, but I like to post those for you just in case someone is in a contemplative mood. The questions are: where are you trapped in a self-destructive cycle? Where are you starving for empathy from yourself or others? Discern the ways that your experience of the world around you is colored by your mental and emotional states. How can you be more empathic towards yourself and others in your everyday life? Is there a myth you resonate with at a deep level, one that reflects your family or cultural story? If you were to write your own myth, what would it be about? Who would be the protagonist? Write a simple myth in your journal. Let the story impact your life. That sounds kind of like fun. So I will post those questions after the broadcast for anybody who is interested in doing a deeper dive through the Gene Key 13, where the gift is discernment. All right. Any comments or questions before I go? I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend. I will be back on Monday morning, as I will be gone for the next few days, celebrating my son's birthday, but also getting ready to go on that trip. And I will be available via email and text and messenger, because I get those on my trusty cellular device. And so if something comes up and someone's, in hurt, let me know. I will be able to answer those. In the meantime, take care. Have a wonderful day. Enjoy your rest of your Jupiter week. And I will see you on Monday morning. Bye for now.